Tonight, we continue our deep dive into the latest impacts of climate change.
It has been a wild and inconsistent winter, warm swings followed by cold snaps. And not only is it hard on our bodies to adjust, it can hurt farmers and small businesses as well.
Here's David Schechter with part 2 of On the Dot, Winter Whiplash.
3, 2, 1, go!
There's nothing like an early morning ski race in Minnesota. This is a community that puts on big events to embrace winter culture.
The strength of our collective and individual action.
And they're striking up public conversations about how to lead on climate change. Like much of the country, Minnesota has had a weird winter. There's been a ton of snow.
Who wants it? Who wants it?
But when it comes to skating, some lakes took 6 weeks longer than normal to freeze.
That's a goal.
Scientists are reluctant to blame any one event on climate change, but Dr. Roop is saying they do see the larger pattern.
We're confident saying that what we are experiencing as a whole in aggregate is what we expect from climate change, and that volatility, that sort of unpredictability, that weirdness, if you will, is climate change.
Nationally, since 1970, winter has warmed in the Pacific Northwest by 1 degree. From Southern California through the middle of the country, it's around 2 degrees warmer. But parts of the Midwest and East Coast have warmed up to 5 degrees, with extreme warming in parts of New York, Vermont, and northern Minnesota of about 7 degrees.
We see, again, these patterns of concerning warming, and that is changing what winter looks like, what it feels like, and that has then, again, implications for what we experience.
Concern about climate change led Minnesota to pass a new law. It requires all electricity come from renewable sources by 2040.
Can this community actually be part of preserving winter? It seems like a pretty big, daunting challenge for one community to do.
We as one community are not going to be able to change the trajectory of global average temperature. So if all communities or many communities come together and catalyze change, then the answer is yes.
So the change in winter doesn't just affect communities where it's always cold or always snowy. Lots of places are dealing with these changes.
I'm Paul. David. Nice to meet you.
So I'm drinking wine during the day, like you do, with Paul Bush. His family has owned the Madroña Vineyards in Camino, California for over 50 years.
And if I were really nice to you, we would be having some blue cheese here and everything.
Why aren't you being nice to me?
Paul's telling me consistently chilly winter temperatures are critical to maintaining healthy grapevines.
They need to go dormant. They need to lose all their leaves and basically store up energy to push buds for the next year. The earlier you bud, the greater chance you're going to have a problem.
And last year, Paul had a problem he'd never seen before. In February, it got unseasonably warm. As a result, the vines started to bud. Then came a frost that killed the buds. In March, it got warm again, more buds, another frost, and in April, it happened for a third time.
Our harvest on the vineyards here, we lost about 70%. That's hard on a small family business.
In addition to grapes, fruit crops across the country like apples, blueberries, and peaches also rely on chilly winters. That didn't happen in 2017 in Georgia and South Carolina, where fruit farmers sustained $1.2 billion in crop losses.
There's the bud.
Okay.
That's next year's crop right there. And so this one will come out here.
Take that out close to the trunk.
To adapt to the wild swings in winter weather, Paul's experimenting with a new technique, delaying when he prunes certain varieties.
Pruning it later, it delays the bud break.
So you're protecting yourself against losing those really precious buds.
Yep, but I think that's where all vineyards, all farmers are learning to adapt to what we can do. And there are certain things we can do and certain things we can't.
I mean, you've got to embrace the season around you, right?
You don't have to love winter to understand it's something to be celebrated and protected. But that doesn't mean I'm staying in this frozen lake 1 minute longer.
Are you supposed to be able to feel your legs?
No!
Okay, because I don't feel my legs.
So refreshing.
You know what? I feel pretty great right now. I'm David Schechter, On the Dot, and I'd love to hear from you.
So what do future winters look like here in Detroit? Well, here's what the data shows. Winter temperatures are rising because of climate change. You can see how they went up and down at various rates over the last 50 years. But overall, winter in Detroit is now 4.6 degrees warmer on average. And experts say that trend will only continue.